Well, I got a little carried away there and a little ahead of myself, and I wasn't looking at the time. Um, what I was saying before is name one heroic narrative that doesn't have a love interest involved. It's almost an essential part of the story. And Captain John Smith was able to make himself a legend in his own time and perhaps in his own mind as well. So keep that in mind when you're reading him. Please note in some of the other writings that are in the back too that he makes a plea or a case to the people in England that coming to the colonies will improve their lives. That there will be plenty of land where they can make their own living and not be subject to other people's economic interests or exploitation too. So it becomes this place almost of like classless in terms of socioeconomic class, of a classless paradise. There are no lords, there are no ladies. There is a king, but we probably won't talk about him too much. Um, so you can come here and make your own way and reinvent yourself. And this is so much ingrained into the American ideology, as we all know. America's the place where you can just start over. Doesn't matter what you were in the old world, you can come here and start afresh. So keep that in mind as well. And finally, once again, a small reminder of what Jamestown looked like too at its height. And again, think about the technological differences there were between the English and the natives. That's really, really important. Also keep in mind, the person who tells the story first and the person who, in some cases, tells the only story is the person who gets to write his story. And some of you already know in a lot of languages, history and story are actually the same word. It works that way in Spanish, works that way in Italian, it works that way in German. I believe it does in French as well. So that's an interesting side note. Now, as far as recreations go, that recreation site is still there. If you ever get a chance to go to Virginia, I suggest you check it out. It's quite fascinating. They're still finding lots of interesting information about the Jamestown and Roanoke settlements through advances in archaeology. You may want to subscribe to the Smithsonian feed on your social media. There are a lot of really great archaeology ones as well. Can keep you updated on that kind of stuff. Now, if you want to see how historical recreation sites are portrayed and put into a larger cultural grid in fiction, for example, I would strongly recommend you read Chuck Palahniuk's Choke. He was, of course, the author of the very famous book and later adapted in film Fight Club. And it's about, among other things that I won't talk about here, a man who works in one of these historical recreation sites. There's also a very contemporary author who's got two books out that also deal with historical recreation in the United States and its relationship to capitalism, its relationship to the commodification of history, its relationship to the service industry and to economic underclasses. And he's got two books. One is called Pastoralia, and it's a book of short stories. One of the main ones is called Pastoralia. It's about 80 pages, so that makes it about a novella about somebody who has to work in basically this living diorama as a Neanderthal. And he just sits in there all day while people walk by and watch him do only Neanderthal things. And if he gets caught breaking character, he gets in trouble. It's funny in a very weird, dark way. So I strongly recommend it. It was on the New York Times bestseller list for quite a while. Another one like that is also by George Saunders, and it's called Civil War Land in Decline. And basically, you have this amusement park based on the Civil War, and it's just basically crumbling because of all kinds of problems within it too. And once again, it's merging these different like American tropes of service industry culture and history and theme parks and nationalism in a really, really fascinating way. So I suggest you check those out. Anyway, that's all I have to say about John Smith at this time. Feel free to hit me up with any questions. Hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye, and I'll talk to you soon.